I don't think there's any change in policy. I think the president looked at the recognition of Jerusalem as being Israel's capital and the ineluctable consequence of that, which is that the U.S. Embassy ought to be in the capital city of the country to which it's accredited as the right and natural thing to do. And it was not an issue of quid pro quo. He's made the point, I think, several times that this issue has been a hang-up in negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians. And as he said last night as well, he's taken that issue off the table. As a deal maker, as a bargainer, he would expect, you would expect, I would expect that the Palestinians would say, okay, great, so we didn't get that one, now we want something else. And we'll see how it goes. But the fundamental point is that ultimately this is something that the parties are going to have to agree on. One of the most cogent things I've ever heard about the Middle East was something that Secretary of State Jim Baker said during the George H.W. Bush administration: we can't want peace more than the parties themselves. And when the parties talk about it and agree, they'll decide between themselves what, if anything, the price of that was. I think it's a much bigger negotiation. I think the real point is that the president did the right thing in moving the embassy to Israel's capital, and that in and of itself brings reality to a negotiation that honestly for decades has been conducted in an era of unreality. So I think in that sense it was a very positive step forward, not just for Israel but for the Palestinians as well. Ultimately, any agreement between Israel and the Palestinians, whatever shape it takes, is going to require agreement of the parties. It's not something the U.S. is prepared to force on anybody. In terms of Hamas, you know, dealing with the terrorist group is you get what you might expect from it. I can't even begin to count the number of ceasefires we've heard from Hamas, Hezbollah, other terrorist groups over the years. I would be stunned if anybody in the government of Israel is viewing this with anything other than very, very clear-eyed understanding of what it's about. If Hamas cared more about the people of the Gaza Strip than their political priorities, we wouldn't have a lot of these troubles. And I think it's a sad outcome for the Palestinian people that all they've got now is a choice between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. So there are a lot of prospects really to find ways here to resolve some of these problems and give the people of Palestine, who have been used as agents by radical leaders over the years for their own political purposes, to give them and their families a chance for a decent life going forward. And I think that's the ultimate objective of the peace plan that the president has been overseeing. And when we're ready to roll it out, and we do, I hope that'll be visible to all the affected stakeholders in the region.